Hey everybody, Father John Muir here. Thanks for joining me at Catholic Breakfast. Today the question is, how bad should you freak out when things go wrong? That's what we're talking about today in Catholic Breakfast. It's one of the hardest questions actually. When things go wrong in your life, when things go wrong in your family, when things go wrong in the world, how bad is it? And then when you know how bad it is, you know how much you should panic. And if you struggle with either being a pessimist all the time and kind of carrying that burden, I want to address that. Maybe you're kind of an optimist. You feel like things should always kind of work out, and then you find yourself often disappointed. The other day I was at a daily mass, and the reading came up in the Gospel of Matthew. I think it's chapter 11, where Jesus says, "To what shall I compare this generation? You're like kids in the marketplace who cry out, 'We played a dirge for you, and you did not mourn. We played the flute for you, and you did not dance.'" This is a little bit of a reading into the text, but as I was kind of praying about that, thinking about what the Lord is saying there, he's speaking about John the Baptist and him and the resistance to the mission that Jesus himself has revealed in the Gospels and how John the Baptist is preparing for that. But think about it in this way, maybe in applications. The dirge is like pessimism. The flute is like optimism. There's this human tendency, and you can see it right there in the Gospels, and man, we still have it today, to want to think that things should always go according to our own preferences, our own expectations. Oh, things never work out. And then you can't really be grateful for the good things around you. You get very narrow vision. Maybe you're an optimist. You say, things should always go really, really well. And then you watch, 5 seconds of cable news. And you think, this is terrible. Why is the world not working out? And of course, we feel this very much when serious things go wrong in our lives. How does Christ help us through that? Well, fast forward to the end of that little section, and Jesus says, "Wisdom is vindicated by her children." What's the great fruitful wisdom that the Gospel of Matthew, and really all of the Gospels are leading up to? It's the wisdom that St. Paul describes as the wisdom of the cross. It's the wisdom of God's self-giving love. The worst possible thing? Yeah, the death of the innocent Son of God on the cross. The best possible thing? Yes, the redeeming, self-giving love of God on the cross, which leads to the resurrection. So as Christians, we're meant to see all situations, even if we judge them, good or bad in a relative sense. What does the wisdom of Christ's cross and resurrection, mean for us a little more practically? Well, here's one way to get at it. Our hope is in Christ's cross, his resurrection, and then what that sets a trajectory to, which is his coming in glory, right? When Christ brings definitive justice. What that means is Christians are sort of free from a kind of obligatory optimism, and we're certainly free from a pessimism. Our challenge is to engage the things that cause us frustration, anger, from a spirit of hope. Now, listen, St. Augustine said, hope has 2 beautiful daughters, and those 2 beautiful daughters are anger and courage. Now, why are they such beautiful daughters? Because anger helps you see there's something wrong here. That's what the dirge is all about. There's something broken. And anger helps you have energy and verve to set the thing right. So we don't just sit back and do nothing. And that's where the other daughter of hope, which is courage. That Christians go forth to meet injustices in our personal lives, the injustice of personal sin, the injustices that we see around us in the world. We go forth to meet those and to try to set those right. But look, we do it with an awareness that definitive justice only comes about through Christ's cross, resurrection, and finally his coming in glory. Even our best successes to bring about justice in the world now is always going to be somewhat limited, somewhat relative. And the great Christian hope is that final justice comes only when Christ comes in glory. Our hope in that makes us able to be free from a kind of false optimism, a heavy false pessimism, and to be about the work of bringing about justice now in our lives. That's really what the wisdom of the cross and resurrection means for our life today. God bless you.